it's pathological, and it's absolutely self-destructive. I mean, I think those two are destroyers. I think Harry and Meghan are destroyers.
Hi, welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm Kinsey Schofield here with, oh my God, my favorite, Maureen Callahan
Aw.
of The Nerve. I know that you have been greatly missed over here, but you've been covering a lot of really good stuff over on The Nerve lately. And uh, what's your beef with Timothée Chalamet?
Shamalama ding dong.
What do you hate for Timothée Chalamet?
I think I'm well founded. I think, as my mother used to say, hate is a strong word.
That's true.
I'll go with antipathy. I have antipathy for him. I'll go with I have no respect for him. I'll go with I think he's a liability to his generation. I think when you get in front of the world's cameras, and I don't care if it's the soft focus realm of entertainment television, and you say, hey man, I've been working at this for 7 or 8 years,
Yeah.
and I've been delivering some top level. So give me that Oscar. I got a problem with it. I got a problem with you. So thank God I have the outlet that is the nerve, because
That's
I'd
true.
probably be at my physician who would be asking me why I have so much bottled up stress. I can at least get it all out with my fellow troublemakers at the nerve.
I have another
By
question
the
for you.
way, Kinsey, not for
Yeah.
nothing, I will humbly submit that the nerve is moving the needle a bit, because not only was Timmy C shut out at the BAFTAs,
Hmm.
the Actor Awards, other formerly known as the SAG Awards, not only denied Timmy C his Best Actor statuette on Sunday night, they gave it to Michael B. Jordan with a standing ovation, which was their way, in my opinion, of saying to Timmy C, shut it, sit down, and we don't like it.
Yeah, stop talking so much. It's one thing to express yourself through the craft. It's another thing to rattle off and get on people's nerves. I have another question for you. Are you enjoying Love Story at all from an entertainment perspective, or does it drive you crazy with the inaccuracies that you can't enjoy the process of the JFK Jr., Carolyn Bessette, Ryan Murphy show?
It's both. I
Yeah.
find it very watchable, which doesn't mean it's good. It just means
The
they figured out a
Kardashians,
way to spoon
watchable.
feed the audience, and they are hitting a vein. They're hitting a big vein, which is that 90s nostalgia.
Mhm.
But it also drives me crazy the way in which they are rewriting literal history. And we recap it every week on the nerve, as well as we do readings from Michael Bergen's book, The Other Man. Do you know this book, Kinsey?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's out of print. I bought it when it was published, of course. And but like it's going now for like $3,000 on eBay.
Good Lord.
So I'm hearing from a lot of audience members who are like, can you keep giving us stuff from the other
Yeah,
man? And
can
I'm
you
like,
please
sure
keep
can.
reading paragraphs? Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
great.
amazing. So it's both. It's both. How
Yeah,
are you watching it? What are you thinking?
I love it, but you're right. Like it's the soundtrack. Like I'm like, oh God, I love a Lenny Kravitz moment, and it's the Calvin Klein, and it's all of that. But it is hard for me to digest some. Like there's a martyr element to Carolyn sometimes that we're seeing it now. At first she was like a bad girl and there's drugs all over the table, but when John shows up at her apartment and he's in tears and Jackie's died, there's like this saint kind of aura about Carolyn, and that's not ever what I've read from your stuff.
Not true. None of it's true. And this idea that she just happened to fall in love with the most famous man in America
Yeah,
and had no idea what it would entail.
yeah.
Okay, Meghan Markle ripped from this playbook upon meeting Prince Harry. Oh, what do you do? I've never heard of him. I never Googled him in my life. British royal family. We don't have that. I had
Right.
no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That's so true. Well, let's talk about Meghan Markle. That's a good segue. Prince Harry, his claims that journalists obtained stories on him through hacking, branded utterly crazy in the High Court. This is that court case that we expect to last for about 9 weeks, and it's continuing this week. He is one of several high-profile figures suing associated newspapers over alleged unlawful information gathering. Harry testified. This is so weird the way they do trials over there, not to insult anyone in the UK. But so Harry testifies and he gets to get all of this stuff off his chest and make all of these accusations. But it's literally weeks later where some of these journalists get to respond to those accusations and say, no, as a matter of fact, one of your friends literally called the news desks. After Harry's like, well, they must be tapping into my phone. They must be stalking me. They must be going through my trash. And so now we're hearing from a series of journalists, some that are literally able to say, I was friends with Harry at some point in my life. We used to party together. We'd see each other in nightclubs. And Rebecca English is one of them that's saying, no, I got that tip from somebody that called the news desk. I followed up on it. It's classic journalism. My question to you is, how did Harry's lawyers allow him to get on the stand and basically disrespect the entire art of journalism? I wouldn't say I'm a journalist. I think you're a journalist, a very good journalist. If you haven't read Maureen's books, please read some of Maureen's books. But journalism is an art, and there are, classic things you do that aren't illegal to get your information. How do you feel about him going on the stand and just him assuming that all of this stuff is obtained illegally?
Well, I think what we've seen since Harry cut himself loose from the palace, the industrial complex that knows what it's doing in regards to mass media, he doesn't listen to anybody. This is he and his wife at one point, I think no longer could afford to hire the best of the best. And if you're really smart, you know what you don't know, and you listen to the experts and you take it all in. And if there's something you disagree with, you have a conversation with said expert and you let them handle it. The other thing that really strikes me as well is the utter hypocrisy and I believe it's almost a willful unself-awareness. Again, the parallels with John Jr. and Carolyn are so
I love it.
rampant. Harry, having been a subject of the world's media, voluntarily became a member of the world's media the minute he signed a deal with Netflix, the minute he signed a book deal with Penguin Random House, the minute he published a memoir, the minute he and his wife signed with Spotify. You cannot be of the media and then decide that you are taking up against the media, which has victimized you. It cannot be both.
Yeah, that is so very true. Yeah, and it's the fact that he doesn't understand the process. Do you think that the judge is keenly aware of that? I know you had a conversation with Lady Colin Campbell, and she has a relationship or had a relationship with the judge or knows more about the judge than we do. But do you think the judge has got to sit back and go, he hasn't had that conversation with experts. He must, this is just assumption. This is just anger, resentment, assumption. When you're bringing up things on the stand like your wife, who you didn't meet until 3 or 4 years after the last article that you're addressing was published, that's not somebody that is rational.
Well, the conversation I had with Lady C was really illuminating because she, I believe, as she told me, this was about a month ago, has been before this judge herself and or has knowledge of this judge through, her social circle. And she was saying how this judge really has no tolerance for any kind of my word, not hers. And
it might be hers. It might be hers.
Is weeping on the stand about the misery that the world's media has made his life, his wife's life. Again, the willful, this, I believe what he's litigating predates her involvement in his life or them
by years.
So it's, we're looking at it, I don't quite know. All I can say is this seems like a pattern. He loves to be in litigation.
Yeah.
He enjoys being in conflict. He enjoys having some sort of enemy to rail against. And now that the British royal family seems to be gray rocking him, William and Catherine are absolutely gray rocking him. He cannot get a reaction out of them, nor can his wife. I think this scratches some sort of, I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, he would tell you, because he said this previously, that he's slaying dragons. I don't know what that does for you. It does nothing for me. But he says that his fight against the media is slaying dragons.
Well, these seem the cries of a beta male who spends way too much time video gaming.
Oh my God, that's so true. But to also your point about becoming the media, he also runs to Anderson Cooper, Gayle King. There's a list of Tom Bradby. There are a list of personalities that are guaranteed to be friendly to him. And he works those. Hoda. And so if the media was really the enemy, you'd fire off a press release and you wouldn't do any of those sit downs because you have the power to. You don't have to. You could release your own video and everybody would air said video. But he does pander to some of the friendlier media entities too. And it's just like, oh, it's so infuriating because none of these people challenge him or say, we have receipts, and that doesn't quite add up. So I'm pretty exhausted over his continued fights with the media, and I'm looking forward. Hopefully they stop. They say that Meghan is exhausted with them too and wants him to focus on the future instead of fixating on the past.
Well, I also think it probably comes down to their balance sheet. They're not making much money anymore. The Netflix deal is done. Netflix announced that With Love Meghan would not be returning. They didn't have to do that. They could have just let it silently float away downstream. But they put a period on the end of that sentence. So as not to allow Meghan to continue to say, oh, well, it might manifest again in another way. Like, we're really not done. They love me. They love everything I'm doing. Again, we are at the height of awards season and we are not seeing Meghan Markle invited to anything. Anything. She could have easily been a presenter at the Actor Awards. No, she was not at the Golden Globes. I am sure she has not been invited to the Oscars. I am sure she has not been invited to the Vanity Fair Oscar party, which has winnowed its guest list significantly this year. So I don't quite know where their next paychecks will be coming from. And, perhaps some of the animation behind this constant litigation is, oh, we'll get a settlement. We'll get some sort of money.
I think where I'm expecting Harry to pursue making money in 2026 primarily, I think that there will be another tour, but primarily where he expects to make money is appearances, which.
Okay, but like we talk about this a lot. His speaking fee has plummeted. He began getting $1 million from JP Morgan Chase.
But the reason that they're doing these tours is because they're trying to rehab his image so that he could potentially generate more revenue from the speaking engagements. So the reason that he's trying to look like a royal, desperate to look like a royal, and doing these fake tours is so that he can hopefully up his value when it comes to the speaking engagements.
I think stunts like that actually depreciate his value in the market. I think when he and his wife cynically go to Jordan to ogle at a 14-year-old burn victim's injuries, and Meghan can barely even look at said injuries while she's trying to cosplay as Diana, I think that depreciates their value in the marketplace.
Amen. I totally agree with you. What's your opinion? Because I don't think we've had this conversation about Beatrice and Eugenie. I have been like, get them away from the family. I think they remind the world of their father. I've gotten a lot of pushback from it. And now we're understanding that Prince William wants them as far away from them as possible as well. Where do you stand? Do you think we should not punish them for the sins of their father? Or do you go, if we look a little deeper, we might see that they associate with similar characters?
Option B, Option B, I am at the point where, and I have blind faith in no one, but the reports we're getting are that Beatrice and Eugenie had their lifestyle funded by monies that came from Jeffrey Epstein. It funneled through their grubby, greasy, slimy mother, Sarah Ferguson, just my opinion, and their disgusting reprobate of a just my opinion abuser, Andrew.
Mm,
And also, they've not done enough to really distance themselves from their parents. And I get that might be a very difficult thing to do. I understand that. But I trust William's judgment here implicitly. I think William wants to clean house. You know, in order to save this monarchy, it has got to be slimmed down to the bare bones, and reputational liabilities must be dispensed with. The old ways no longer hold, and nobody wants to see these two sucking at the teat of Buckingham Palace when we know that they're lavish. Like, what do they do for one of them works for like Hauser and Wirth? You
yeah.
know, like this, but what does she do?
They have
What
those
does she,
cushy
what do they do?
nepo baby jobs where it's like, I work at an art gallery. I do this, I do that. But I mean,
That's a position that could go to somebody else who actually maybe knows about art and art history. You know, it's not like they're the most, I'm going to be delicate with my language here, but you know, the people you would want in your front facing positions,
yeah.
it's not like those are the ones without their lineage. You go that one. That's the kind of gal I'm looking for as a front facing position for my company.
Well, I mean, horrifically, Eugenie was associated with a sex trafficking charity. I mean, how do you show up to
Which
work?
one? How do I not know this?
Yeah, well, I'll have to look it up which one it was, but I remember as this was all spiraling, I was like, she is not going to be able to manage that going forward. But yeah, she was associated with a sex trafficking charity. And now there are emails in that DOJ dump that make it seem like there is a 26-year-old Russian girl being trafficked to her father on a private jet for a little rendezvous at Buckingham Palace. So I mean, it all reflects horribly on them. Not to
Also,
mention,
what did they really do for the British Commonwealth, for the British public? What did they actually contribute? I don't think anything. I think nothing. And what was the so the story that was published the other day, which was that William has had the York girls banished from, was it Ascot?
yes, ask it, yeah.
And that they chafed at that. Now, that tells us a lot. They had the gall, the temerity to chafe at that instead of saying, you know what, that's probably the right call. Our
Right.
parents are under siege and the monarchy is in jeopardy over my father's disgusting, disreputable, allegedly torturous, allegedly potentially pedophilic behavior. You know what we should do? We should disappear for a while. We should make it easier on our cousin who's going to inherit the throne, or at least in just the basis self-interest, lay low so he doesn't look to us as targets, and maybe we'll have mercy on us when his time comes to be coronated. But instead, they're proving themselves the products of their environment, by which I mean Sarah and Andrew, grubby, greasy, greedy. What have you done for me lately? Nobody wants this anymore. Nobody will tolerate it anymore. By dint of your birthright, are you kidding? We're all supposed to tolerate this disgusting, if not criminal behavior. Not saying Beatrice and Eugenie are criminal, but I'm just saying they're not meeting the moment. Let's just put it that way.
Meeting the moment. That's a great way to put it. I mean, yeah, because scoffing back at a headline you don't like is so Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. That just is like a product of your environment. To your point. And did you read? I'm sure you did. It's silly for me to ask, but the fact that William offered them an ethics check just to make sure that their finances were all clear, that there wasn't anything that could muddy the waters when it came to their associations, that the people they'd met through their mom and dad. You know, Prince William said he wanted to carry out an ethics check on their personal investments. And the York sisters allegedly said that they didn't think that it was necessary and they didn't want to pursue that. And that made him
Oh.
very uncomfortable. That, you know, how can we trust you going forward if we can't even we just want to make sure that you're not associated with anybody that might humiliate us later on down the line.
Again, I don't think these girls are very bright. I it really does make you question sort of, just the institution of a monarchy that, by dint of
Genes,
your birthright,
DNA. Yeah.
inbreeding. You say yes, you get
Yeah.
your lawyers involved, you come to some sort of mutual understanding in which, should some liabilities be discovered in the accounting, we work that out privately and we make a deal going forward. And instead, they're being defiant. And I think that William does think about 3 steps ahead.
Mm.
I think he's giving themselves enough rope with which to hang themselves. So by the time he does ascend to the throne and he begins excising malignant tumors like this from the host body of the monarchy, the British public will be with him. I mean, America is going to be with him. I think that's not in question.
I agree with you. Hi guys, I have to tell you about a total game changer, Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. You may not know it, but your liver handles a lot: energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But with all the stress and toxins from everyday life, it needs some love. Forget harsh cleanses. Peak delivers gentle, daily support inspired by traditional Chinese medicine. Their routine uses 2 simple blends. The first is a warming turmeric mix with cinnamon and black pepper, designed to help the body absorb it better and support the liver while calming inflammation. The second is a ginger and cinnamon blend that helps with blood flow, digestion, bloating, and immune support. The magic is how they work together to activate and flush for better digestion, stable energy, less brain fog, and that light, clear feeling. My energy is consistent now, skin is clearer, and less bloating. Redefine your standard of health, secure 20% off your order, and begin your intentional wellness journey today at peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Having had this conversation about William's discomfort with the York family, wanting to distance himself from the sisters, his cousins. Does it surprise you at all that there are reports that, well, first of all, I saw a brand new headline this morning that Harry and Meghan have offered Beatrice and Eugenie a place, an escape. Like, do you need to just get away for a little while? But I sent you overnight an article that says the Sussexes have offered the York sisters a meeting with their publishers and agents to help them secure a lucrative deal, a book deal that could be, of course, potentially explosive. One of the sources said Harry and Meghan are drawing on their own experience, which was a nightmare, by the way. It might have been a quick buck, but literally no one's talking to them anymore. They saw how telling their story on their own terms reshaped the conversation around them, and they believe the same strategy could work for Beatrice and Eugenie. In their eyes, controlling the narrative is a form of leverage. That does sound legit. That sounds like some they would say. The source continued, they think the sisters occupy a powerful position, close enough to the center of events to offer insight, yet distant enough from official duties to speak more freely. But within royal circles, there is real anxiety. A public account, however carefully framed, could stir up old grievances, expose uncomfortable details, and further strain already fragile family relationships. For some, it feels like Harry and Meghan want to use them like puppets on their ongoing mission to bring the royal family to its knees. Oh, what a quote there, Maureen.
I'm going to sum this up with one word.
I love it. I can't wait to
I think this quartet is up to blackmail.
Yeah.
We know where the bodies are buried. We're going to go take our stories over to a US publisher unless you give us some money and cut us a check and let us stay somewhat within all of the royal, like the official royal, in our royal capacity. That's what that sounds like to me. Now, it is also proof to me that like attracts like. Dark energy attracts dark energy. If Beatrice and Eugenie had any just my opinion, any decency, any smarts, any real evolutionary sort of sense of just self-preservation, they would be looking to do everything they could to ally themselves with William and Catherine. I'm guessing that well has been running pretty dry over the years. And
Yes.
so they're heading over to Meghan and Harry, who love to say things like, reclaiming our narrative really helped reshape the conversation. Sure, that sentence is incomplete in a negative way that did not redound to your benefit because you are now social, critical, and commercial pariahs. You have nothing left to say. And this is also another shot across the bow to the ascendant William and Catherine, because William and Harry are in essence saying, our intel supply may have dried up, but these two are going to come over here with a wealth of secrets and a wealth of bones buried that we're going to excavate and sell to the highest bidder. So if you think we were done, think again. And it's so sordid and disgusting. Again, it goes to my feeling and thought that William's inclinations here are dead on. He knows what toxic people these are.
I know. And you're just like, how can we protect this poor man and his family? How can we protect this poor man and his young family from the chaos that surrounds him? What was your take on Jordan? Because I thought that The Independent did a really good job, and I believe it was an opinion piece, but somebody did a really great job. The title is Why Harry and Meghan Can't Stop Copying Every Move That William and Kate Make. And it was basically a side by side of the way that Harry and Meghan rejected this institution, rejected this job. You know, they hate the royal family, refused to give up the titles, but then copy and paste William and Catherine's activity, whether it's a photo of Meghan kicking a ball or Meghan's wardrobe. I mean, they really do not have an original thought in their head. There are all sorts of geopolitical issues with the Jordan trip, but from just a petty standpoint of like weird obsession, staying in the same hotel suite, sleeping on the same mattress, does that freak you out at all?
Yes, I find it an obvious perseveration, this hatred, this ostensible hatred of the royal family and the need to get away from it and attempt to destroy it. It's as plain as day. And it's all over Spare. It's all over the Netflix documentary series. It's all over the fake joy that Meghan tried to sell us all in her, again, failed Netflix venture with Love Meghan. I think they're the animating force that is most primal and pronounced with those two is that they want to be the king and queen. They are fueled, they're consumed by envy and rage that Harry's consumed that he's the spare, that he's not number one, that he's not the future king. And Meghan can't believe that when she showed up on the scene, that she did not completely overshadow Catherine in every way, and that she was not received as the second coming of Diana, and that she failed to win hearts and minds. You would think one would if your stated reason for leaving was that this is just not for you, and you want to carve out your own place in the world, why you would continue to replicate everything that William and Catherine have done before you, and frankly done better. It's pathological, and it's absolutely self-destructive. I mean, I think those two are destroyers. I think Harry and Meghan are destroyers. And I think the only healthy response to people like that is to gray rock them and to excise them and to have nothing to do with them. And these are continued attempts to bait William and Catherine as well. And I find it, as you said, I mean, I think the word is creepy. It's creepy.
I really was thinking about, sorry to go back to Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy, but Meghan.
No, I love it.
I love it too. Meghan really was trying to emulate Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy at the beginning of the relationship in the blue jeans and the boyfriend shirt, like the white oversized shirt. And I guess every once in a while, we might still get a Carolyn Bessette moment. Certainly the beige, certainly the commitment to simple things, I guess. Maybe not so oversized. Carolyn Bessette clearly had a great tailor and a steamer. But
Carolyn Bessette also had a good 8 to 10 inches on Meghan.
What are your thoughts? Do you think that Meghan tries to emulate Carolyn Bessette-Kennedy, or do you think she has in the past?
I do. And it's kind of this weird, um, this very weird, again, creepy circle. So Carolyn Bessette truly believed that she was the second coming of Princess Diana in America.
Mm.
And when Diana was killed, she retreated further into her paranoia
This is
and would
so
say
true,
to
by the
her,
way, guys. I've read this that she was so traumatized by the death of Princess Diana, and it caused friction between her and JFK Jr. because she became even more paranoid after Diana died.
yeah, and she would say like the media, they're gonna get me the way they got Diana. And even JFK Jr., whose father was assassinated when he was 2 years old, was like, "You're crazy. You're not the second coming of Princess Diana. Get a grip, get a hold of yourself." Um, and so watching Meghan try to emulate Carolyn Bessette in looks and demeanor and comportment, and then also try to invite, if not demand, comparisons to Princess Diana. It's wild. I mean, you're dealing with, Diana, as much as people loved her, if you've read anything about her, she was not an emotionally stable woman. I believe she suffered from at least one major personality disorder, but probably three. She might have been a cluster B. Carolyn Bessette, same. And this is one of the things that's really bugging me about Love Story. Carolyn Bessette was a very deeply disturbed woman who was very prone to violent outbursts in which she attacked her boyfriends. And we see it in the video that was shot by a paparazzo in New York City, a female paparazzo of her and JFK Jr. going at it, physically brawling in public. She was not a well woman.
Hmm.
Meghan, in choosing these two to emulate, says to me she's not that well of a woman either. I mean, listen, I've said it before, and again, it's just my opinion. But when you decide, as Harry and Meghan clearly did, again, talk about lack of self-awareness, if not a moral compass, that you're going to try to quote unquote rehab your image on the world stage, but AKA, as you shrewdly, astutely pointed out, just raise their quote on the marketplace for, public speaking gigs. You're going to go to Jordan and you're going to sit at the bedsides of children who were gravely injured in war. And your father's in the same hemisphere
Oh my God.
and has had his leg amputated and was just begging for a kind word, maybe a visit. And you said in sum and substance, at Christmas time when your holiday special on Netflix dropped, not
Yeah.
happening, daddy. I don't know how that works in terms of like seamless, steady messaging.
Yeah. No, I know you're absolutely right. And if you think about when Megan does have an original moment where she doesn't seem to be trying to emulate anyone, and then maybe it truly is her, it's that ugly red dress. Do you remember that ugly red dress she wore on the carpet? That well, she wore it twice. There was
Yeah,
one
didn't
time.
she wear it on an American aircraft carrier as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so anytime she does have like an original Markle moment, you're like, oh, that was an interesting choice. And then
An
other,
original Markle moment, Kinsey, for us means the dress is ill-fitting. There are gaps. It was purchased off the rack. Her stylist effing hates her. No tailor will make it fit. We're wearing pants that are going to wrinkle the moment we sit down. So when we stand up at the bedside of a 14-year-old burn victim, all we can look at is the accordion pleats in said pants. So we're
mm,
looking disheveled, we're looking sloppy. Sometimes, frankly, we don't look quite hygienic. I think there were several unhygienic moments in With Love, Meghan, many of which involved her preparing food with her disgusting tendrils hanging over it.
and like her jewelry in the food, all in the food.
Oh, yes, like mixing things in bowls with our
Yeah.
jewelry. Imagine the dust mites and the bacteria and the skin oils that have just been baked into that jewelry. But we have to show off our $60,000 Cartier watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. I know what you mean. But Netflix said no mo, no mo. And now we just patiently wait for her to continue to lower the prices on asever.com as she desperately is trying to get rid of all this product that no one wants. I mean, just call TJ Maxx already.
Could you imagine? Could you
Yeah.
imagine the indignity for a Meghan Markle if her stuff shelved at your local TJ Maxx or your local Marshalls? Again, it's like her messaging is all over the place. When she showed up in Jordan with Harry, I thought to myself, the last thing I read about you is that you had a warehouse full of flour sprinkles that you can't move.
Yeah. Well,
You
no,
know,
she wanted you to read that she sold out of the freaking bookmarks. Who cares? What?
how many bookmarks were
18?
manufactured?
18, 18. No, she wanted you to know that she sold out of bookmarks, but you're absolutely right. Like that is a hard pivot. Flower sprinkle girl to I'm here to save Jordan.
I just think there are going to be very few places where these two are welcome. I don't know. I mean, where do you think their next faux royal tour, like what if you had to guess,
Iran. They're gonna save Iran next.
you think?
Yeah, I think that they have the power. If anybody can do it, it's them.
You think they would dare to go? Again, these two and their mixed messaging. So Harry, whinging and moaning in UK courtrooms that he must have security because the UK is too dangerous for his wife and his children and himself, and yet they go to the Middle East.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, that tracks.
Right. Well, also, we should Megan should be more humble. Like we're laughing about TJ Maxx. Your girl loves a good TJ Maxx
I
haul.
shop TJ Maxx all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
I know you
I
do
love
actually.
TJ
I
Maxx.
actually recently heard you say that on your show. So I know that's true. But, she has tried to do this upscale thing with As Ever. Godmother's Soho House. Now here, on my local news, when I'm turning the local news on in LA, the big story is that Soho House is being sued by one of the employees for sex assault. Like she never makes the right move. You know what I mean? It's like she's always trying to align herself with very specific entities, very Tyler Perry. She's just, is she a terrible is she just terrible at judging people? Is she terrible
Yes.
at
Yes, because I think her metric is how famous are you? How wealthy are you? What can you do for me? Does being in your company redound to my benefit in as much as I can say I'm friends with person X, Y, or Z? That's as deep as it goes with her, as
Mm.
deep as it goes. And by the way, as you were talking, I was just thinking to myself about how she invited herself to the Balenciaga show. We know that now. She told New York Magazine, or the designer told New York Magazine, she invited herself.
Yeah.
We just saw Paris Fashion Week. Kate Moss returning on the runway for Gucci, these 90s moments coming back. Anna Wintour was there. I mean, Demi Moore was there. It was the starriest of the starriest. And who was not there but Meghan Markle? And if you want to tell me she did not try to wangle her way in, I would bet she tried to wangle her way into more than one show and was probably told, we are full.
If you had a successful fashion week, if the last fashion week moment was such a successful moment, you cannot tell me that other brands wouldn't be trying to take advantage of that momentum. The fact that no other brand wanted her there tells me that she was rejected. And that
Absolutely.
and that
Before that was Milan Fashion Week.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the fact that no one else is going like, oh, that we want to be the next ones to have Meghan Markle at our show. I mean, no, everybody's like,
It's so grim. So before Milan was New York Fashion Week, and you know who got a spot at New York Fashion Week? Front row at Michael Kors, Blake Lively. Now, was Blake Lively shunned by
yes,
all of her famous peers? Yes. Was she left to sit alone with gaping empty spaces on either side of her, grinning like a maniac in a very Meghan Markle-esque way? Oh, my life is falling apart. Everything's cool. I'm going to smile here. Yes, she was. Was Meghan Markle spotted anywhere near New York Fashion Week? No. Why is that? I can guarantee you, just my opinion, not a single invitation was extended, and her attempts to worm her way in were thoroughly rejected.
Ooh. It's going to be a tough sell for the new publicist, is basically how we wrap this up. Tough sell for the new publicist. They're going to have to work overtime. Well, and the reason that Harry and Meghan are hopping on planes to Jordan is because they spend a lot of money. They throw a lot of money at some of these charities. And that's why they go, okay, I guess you can come take a photo op with these poor children. But you can't do that at New York Fashion Week. There are different rules, so that's going to be a struggle for them socially.
And it really says something too, because the fashion world is at its heart extremely transactional.
Mm.
It doesn't really run on any sort of a moral compass, it really is all about looks and surface appeal. And so when you get someone like Meghan Markle, whose depth is about, I'm going to say, the level of a petri dish, and still you are rejected because you are that much, of my opinion, again, just a disgusting liability, nothing will cause this. She's not, you say the next publicist is going to have a very hard time. I don't know who they're going to get. She won't listen to a single solitary soul. I think in the future, Meghan and Harry's complete collapse commercially and reputationally will be taught at like business school, like those who want to go into public relations, crisis management, image repair, all of that stuff. Meghan and Harry will be the case study. You could offer a multi-level course load on these two.
Mm-hmm. And in that case study, it'll say 2026, the year we see the pictures of the kids, because they're so desperate to look nice and family oriented. I think that's one of my predictions this year. I think we'll actually see the kids because they're sick of being the villains, and they think that that'll turn things around.
I agree. It will backfire because we'll all see that they're using the children, that they said, one of the reasons they left royal life and the UK was because there was no privacy for the children.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to make sure their children, their children are targets.
All right. And keep your kids off social media. You keep your kids off social media, but we're going to post our kids on social media. We've made our 2026 predictions. I feel pretty confident in them. And
you mean you don't agree with Meghan's astrologer that this is her year?
No, I absolutely do not. Because remember, page 6 told us at the end of 2025 that at the end of 2024 that 2025 was going to be the year of the Markle Sparkle too. So maybe she just has.
But that came from Meghan Markle, allegedly, reportedly.
Yeah.
I mean, who else coined the phrase Markle Sparkle?
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't just like arise from a culture that just loved her so much.
Right.
J-Lo gave herself the name J-Lo. I remember this. Okay, I could be wrong. Don't, but like I do believe J-Lo. She was like, the fans call me J-Lo on like TRL on Total Request Live. It was like nobody had ever heard of fans calling Jennifer Lopez J-Lo. I think Puffy, that then Sean Combs came up with that, I think. But anyway, Markle Sparkle, I believe, came from her.
Yeah.
And it has failed to catch on. Go figure.
Right.
Markle Sparkle. But like, no, Kinsey, if we're to believe the reporting, this came from her astrologer.
Yeah.
This didn't come from her. So like, I love that she thinks that the year of the horse is going to be the year that Meghan Markle. I actually think the year of the horse for Meghan Markle means that horse is going to run roughshod over her remaining hopes and dreams.
Did you see the picture that my friend Caleb in Texas made of us?
No.
Oh my God, I love it.
That is so cute.
I
We'll
know.
talk about fake people. I love it. The Nerves, like the Nerves basic motto. I love it. That's so cute.
I'll send it to you. I posted it
Please
on the
do.
gram. Okay. All right. Well, Maureen Callahan, host of The Nerve, go subscribe if you haven't. You could get your daily dose of justice, daily dose of, you are a regulator, like regulators. Mount up. And I will see you again very soon. I get to see you in person soon, which I'm looking forward to. So you'll have to go follow Maureen so you can see our New York adventures.
Yes, can't wait to see you, Kinsey. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. We'll see you again next time. Bye, guys.